Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And as you can see, we have someone different.
Someone from behind the scenes.
Right. Sam, would you like to introduce our guest?
John Palsy, who is, what is your title? General Manager?
Director of Channel 3. Yeah.
Director of Channel 3. Yeah. And I've been wanting you on this side of the camera for a long time.
I don't know how you talked me into this because this is not something I normally do.
Well, but there's a lot to learn from you, wouldn't you think, Frank?
It's time the folks are seeing him.
Yeah.
And knowing how all this happens. I mean, he's the guy that pushes the buttons at the beginning, although he does have some help.
Well, he's got
a lot of help.
He's got some good help.
Some good help. Justin Roberts is one of the fellows that helps John keep the things running, right?
Yeah, I had Justin out here today, but he's back in the back pushing buttons right now. So.
Well, you're here to talk about sports.
Sure. Yes, we do sports production.
That's right. Right.
Yep.
You're right in the middle of it. First of all, I'll ask Sam what happened with the Lawrenceburg game.
Yeah, what happened with the Lawrenceburg game?
Lawrenceburg's pretty good, and
pretty good.
Once again, we got off to a poor start. Really, I mean, as we've seen the last couple games, and I think that just kind of changes the.
It's difficult to play catch-up ball all the time.
It is difficult, and Lawrenceburg, I think they had shut out 4 in a row, and they had only given up 38 points all year long.
Yes.
And 30 of those was to East Central. So defensively, they were a tremendous team.
Yeah.
And we certainly saw that. My disappointment was, I guess, at the end when they wanted to keep us from scoring, and they called a timeout right at the end and set up something to keep us from. We were right at the goal line, and I was told if you were down on that end, it probably looked like we got the ball in, but we didn't. I guess that the referees said that we didn't. So they're right on top of the play.
Sure.
I'm not complaining about that. I just think that they wanted to go 5 games in a row without giving up any points.
Yeah.
First time the Spartans have been shut out all season.
First time all season long, and I think that's a credit to them.
Kids played hard.
As they always do, and held their heads high when they came off. And
that's artificial turf, isn't it, Lawrenceburg?
yes, it is.
You think that makes a difference?
Well, it might. It might. I mean,
you
those
hear both
that have it,
sides
it's home field advantage for the schools that have that. I was told when we got there, and they've only had that artificial turf, I'm thinking 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
They're going to replace it because it's not keeping its color. That the green is fading on it. That, pretty field, beautiful setting, kind of sets down in a bowl right there off of US 50. And of course, they built a new gymnasium a few years ago, and they put a lot of money in it, but they get a lot of revenue off the riverboat there.
Sure.
So I have to say that the money they get's been put to pretty good use.
That's good. I'm glad that the Spartans were able to play there. I'm sure it was a learning experience for them.
Sure. And more and more schools are going to that turf.
Yes.
I don't know that we will ever have it here. I kind of like the looks of the natural grass. Somebody had posted on Facebook today that 5 or 6 years ago we were down there and they didn't have the turf yet, and it had rained and it was just a soupy mud bowl down there. Those kinds of games are fun to watch as well, I think, because that ball gets very slippery. You don't have that when you have that turf.
Yes. We have some film from the Lawrenceburg Spartan game. Let's watch that right now here at TV3.
Yeah, there you can see
That's a beautiful field.
Yes.
And it's a little unusual that the press box is on the visitor side, just like down at Batesville. But, I find that unusual.
Who was the player on their team that ran so well? I mean, he could juke and I mean, he could stop it like that play right there.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Look at that.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop him.
No. Zigzag. Of course, they every time they score a touchdown, they have a big growl, just like they have
I did like that. That was pretty cool. We
Have
need
that over at.
Not a growl.
What sound does a Spartan make though?
Well, from the movie. Oh yeah, something like that. I don't know. We'll have to work on that.
Anyway, it sounds like over at, I don't know what they call it now, was Paul Brown Stadium with the Bengals. And of
Yes.
course, they play Welcome to the Jungle, and they call that the jungle down there for the Lawrenceburg Tigers. And a lot of Bengal fans, of course, down there in Dearborn County. But yeah, they had their way with us. Took a while though to get that running clock. It didn't start out in the second half with a running clock, and I was hoping we wouldn't see it at all. But for those watching that don't know, once the team has 35-point lead, then you start with a running.
That was a great
second
half.
That was a great
Second half.
second
yes.
half. Yes.
Here's that final play. Well, the second to the final play.
Yeah, because I thought it was over. I went to a commercial break, and then they.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, well, I mean, the
then all
clock
of a sudden
did run
they're
out.
lining up again. Yeah, the clock ran down, and
Apparently, they got that timeout called. We had 1 second left.
so
And you'll see this play. They'll we run it to the right here. And I think you're right. In any other game, we may have actually been in. I think they gave them the benefit of the doubt here. That dropped ball probably hurt a little bit, but right here, so close.
it looked like we were over the pylon to me. But the angle that you were and we were,
Yeah.
unless you were right there on top of them, you have to believe that the officials saw what they saw. I think the nice thing is that we don't have 20 minutes worth of reviewing and instant replay and
Yeah.
all that when you watch college games. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool night. Of course, that's to be expected.
Perfect weather,
in
yes.
October. Want to talk a little bit. The Spartans will not play this Friday night. They will play Saturday morning because
Saturday morning football.
Batesville could not get referees, so which is
11
really
o'clock
too
it
bad.
starts.
Yeah,
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
11
you know,
a.m.
Dave and I will be on at 10:45 on KMix, so
And that's where everybody should be listening because we won't be there.
you won't be there. So keep it tuned to KMix 106.9 or KMix1069.com, and you can hear us anywhere in the world.
Spartans need a win to have a winning season. They're 4-4 right now.
4-4, and I can't tell you what Batesville, but I think they have a very similar record.
They're 4-4,
They're
yes.
4-4 as well. So
Batesville's
very
gotten
winnable
stronger
game.
as the season has
Yeah.
gone along because first they were not too good in the early going, but they've improved, so it will not be an easy game for the Spartans.
no, it won't. But I think Coach Lynch will have them ready.
Well, I'm sure it will.
And I think they understand the importance of this. They want to go out regular season on top, above 500.
yes, yes.
And then following week with sectional, got an opportunity to win one there and move on to the second round of that.
I understand we drew Richmond.
Drew Richmond and at home, and we've been very lucky for the last several years that we get to start out first night at home.
Be a home game, right?
Then the way I looked at the bracket, if we would win, well, we do play the winner between Beech Grove and Newcastle, but that would be a road game if I'm looking at the bracket
I
correctly.
think so. Right. John, what all goes into producing a football game like this?
Well, it depends on if it's home or away.
Sure.
Let's start with the away game. The away game, the way that works is Justin will go out to the away location like we did last week. We set up one camera on the play and one camera on the scoreboard. We send that as well as the announcer and color play-by-play back to the studio as a combination. From there, I'll be in the studio here. I receive that feed, add in the graphics and the clock, which is really hard because I'm 30 seconds behind too, so they can't tell me weird things are happening until it happens. But I'm trying to match the clock with the operator on the field, and I'm telling you, sometimes they're not very accurate. I'm like, you're supposed to start the clock. So, but I have to wait because I have to be, that's their official time. So keeping that clock synchronized is a challenge. And so from here, then I'll put it out onto a cable system as well as stream it. Now, home games are a little bit different. We have the production van, and we work in cooperation with CHS Today, Sydney's class at the high school. They run pretty much everything there. It's she does a very good job of training them. Now, the first game of the season, it's pretty rough because I'm telling you, it's hard when you get in the production van. And there's a couple of positions in the production van. You've got, on the right-hand side, you've got audio as well as graphics, so you're running both of those at the same time. And on the left-hand side, you've got the switcher, so you're changing cameras with the left hand, and then the right hand, you're doing the instant replay. So you've got two things going on at once there, and you've got to get into a rhythm of knowing what it is, because you don't really have a lot of time. If you've got a play that you want to do an instant replay on, you've got to know you've got it and go to that right away before they'll come back up to the line again. So it's difficult, and it's even more difficult when we get into basketball because there's really no time there. Now we ran into a couple times when they were doing hurry up offense this season, and we could not do those replays.
Sure.
But so in when we do it at home, we've got one student that's doing the switching, one that's doing the audio and graphics, and then Justin and I will be sitting behind them monitoring situations, so if there's an error we can fix it really quick. And then Sydney sits directly behind them, giving them direction, especially on camera, and so she's got a headset as well that can talk to the camera operators. Then we've got two camera operators on top of the press box and two wireless field cameras, so they could be out moving around the field wherever we need them at. And it's a lot of hard work on all of their parts, really, because we want to produce a very professional product, and we work hard to do that.
And you do. You really do. I watch it many times, go back and watch, and I'm so impressed with what you're able to do and with what the students are able to do. And you talk about the road games. Justin, what a road warrior, and he's the one that has to carry that camera and that heavy equipment up a ladder.
You know, and that is
roof.
a heavy case, and I do feel for him when he has to go to the top of a press box. That's hard. Almost impossible, really. Most of the time, though, we'll set up in the stands. A little easier to do that way because it's not as tedious as lifting it over your head. So there's a lot of equipment to move for that. But then you know that, too. You don't have as much equipment, but you still have to carry it with you.
Right.
Set up on the spot and be ready to go.
And hope that everything works. I've been taking backup equipment with me.
Yes, exactly.
What a lot of people may not realize how we do that, what we do, and you do it a similar way, is we use a Wi-Fi card, and our signal is pushed out back to the station. If that fails, then we have a telephone set up, and we used telephone for years and years. Used to have landlines put in on road games wherever we would go, and then as cell technology came along and we got away from analog and into digital, the quality of the sound was better, so we use that. But the Wi-Fi sounds the best for us right now, and
if it works.
And so far it's been working.
It has not always worked for us. We use a similar setup. We're sending back via cellular network as well. Lawrenceburg was a good example of that. We were getting 1.3 to 2 meg, which is just barely enough to send a signal out, because we would want minimum 5 meg of signal in order to upstream to live stream, and we weren't getting it. And so you could see that, and people at home are watching and commenting. They're like, "Why does this look so bad?" And I had to explain to them while we were producing that we're getting a very bad stream. But as a backup, we also record, so we're getting the HD recording. So we bring that back in, and then Saturday, either one of us will come in and we'll re-edit that with the higher quality recording with the graphics over it, and then put that back out for people to see, so they can see what it really was supposed to look like.
And you take a lot of bandwidth where
audio doesn't take much.
Audio, we don't take nearly as much, and that's why people will say, well, we want to listen to you, but we want to watch the TV, and we're out 30 seconds difference. And I said, well, it's just because they're pushing
sync.
A lot more bandwidth, it will not sync.
That's true. We're 30 seconds behind when it gets to me, and then I'm adding another 20 seconds maybe onto that. So I could be, from 30 to a minute behind. So you're going to be well ahead of me with audio production.
So if you want the audio, just keep it on TV3, along with the picture. If like this week, where you can't be there, we'll have it.
Yeah.
We'll have it, and we'll have it live.
You can listen to
we
you,
actually have
and
a
then see the replay when on TV 30 seconds later.
30 seconds later. Yeah.
The students you're referring to are the media class at CHS.
Yes, Sydney has created the a sports production class, and has taught them how to use equipment for sports production. Of course, she has experience having worked with Ball State,
Yes.
doing sports production, and she used to do field work with the Cardinals, so out there on the field and things. So she's got a lot of neat ideas for them. She's got a lot she can teach them. And there is a lot to learn as far as how to hold the camera, angles to use, how not to get run over by players. And you always have to watch for that, because the play comes your way, you need to get out of the way. So
A lot goes in behind the scenes for you guys,
yes, yeah,
and
that's a
Sam
lot.
too. I mean, it's not just sitting down at a desk and start talking, is it?
No, and you got to be ready. You
That's
got to be
right.
ready for the unexpected.
That's true. That's true.
Because you don't know what's going to happen.
Let's check the schedule for this week at CHS. On Tuesday, the volleyball sectional gets underway. That'll be at Lawrenceburg, and that continues Thursday, and the finals will be on Saturday. On Friday is the tennis sectional, in the tennis state rather, is coming up on Friday. On Saturday, Spartan football at Batesville at 11 a.m. Soccer girls regional gets underway also on Saturday. Area teams in football records so far, let's check those as we near the end of the regular season. Centerville is 6-2. They won 63-8 over Union City. They'll be at Nicetown on Friday. Union County is 2-6. They won Union County is 2-6. They won 43-8 over Westdale. They'll be home with Try on Friday. Cambridge City is 0-8. Those poor kids haven't been able to win a ball game. They lost 54-16 at Winchester they lost to Winchester. They'll be at South Decatur on Friday. Rushville is 2-6. They lost 61-34 at South Dearborn. They'll be home with Greensburg on Friday. Franklin County is also 2-6. They lost 34-16 to Batesville. They'll be at Beech Grove on Friday. And Richmond is 0-8. They lost 46-6 at Kokomo. They'll be at West Lafayette on Friday. Here are the pairings for the sectional. We talked a little bit about it. The sectional 42, that'll be in game 1. Richmond will be playing the Spartans. Game 2 will be Beech Grove and Newcastle. Game 3 will be New Powell and Mount Vernon. Game 4 will be Pendleton Heights and Greenfield Central. And those games all start a week from Friday, isn't it?
A week from Friday.
Friday night. And then those winners will advance to the second step in the
Second
sectional.
round. There are 3 rounds in the sectional. And I believe just 1 round each week after that.
Regional, I think so,
Regional,
yes.
then semi-state and state.
Wish the Spartans the best of luck, but
Yeah, I like our chances
Yes.
of advancing. We had defeated Richmond rather soundly to start the season, and
right.
of course anything can happen. And
That's right, you never know.
That's pretty good rivalry
They all
over
put
the
their
years.
shoes on the same way. So
That's right. That's right.
It could be, we hope no surprises as far as the Spartans are concerned, but time will tell.
Yeah, it's just great that we get to stay home for that one.
That's right. It's a home game, but all sports tickets, I don't believe are.
No, you have to buy sectional tickets, and maybe next week we can have Andrea, the athletic director, on, and we'll have an update on
Right.
what it takes to get
On
the
how to
tickets.
get
and
how to get a
I'm
ticket.
sure
but
you'd walk up to the gate and buy them. But,
I'm sure the Spartans fans will turn out with a home game
always
and
do.
taking on Richmond, and Richmond should bring a pretty good crowd, even though their record is not good. I'm sure they'll have
yeah,
a following.
It's close for them. So, so there's I love beating the R's, Richmond and Rushville, no matter the sport.
That makes your day, doesn't it?
It does.
I
It
mean,
does.
that keeps you going. But
Had a pretty good win on Saturday in Rushville with the girls' soccer team.
Yes.
Advancing in the sectional and won the sectional. So congratulations to those young ladies.
hope they will do on the regional. Hopefully, they will be.
I believe they travel to Lawrenceburg to take on the Tigers for first round of the regional.
Should be a good game. The kids are
Oh, I
doing real
think so.
well.
Yeah.
The girls, yeah.
Yeah.
The boys kind of got derailed because they met that East Central
East Central.
crew.
Yeah,
They're pretty good.
they're pretty good at everything.
That's right, but they had a good season. Compliment those
Yes, they
kids
did.
too. They had a real good season. So
Glad we were able to have both the coaches, the girls and boys coaches, on the last several weeks.
yeah,
Those guys do a great job.
yeah, they're good. Yeah, Jeff Cooley coaches the girls.
Yeah, Mike Bottomley, the boys.
Right. Kids did okay in soccer. They're playing well. They have good seasons every year. Seems like.
Seems like, yeah.
So we're lucky there. But winter sports is right around the corner.
Yeah, yeah. I believe it's 43 days until the boys open up against Union County the night before Thanksgiving, which is like a basketball homecoming.
And the girls open a month earlier. They play October 31st in their first ball game. And the IHSA sets the time when you can begin organized practices, and I believe that's coming up for the girls very
yeah,
shortly.
I think tryouts are this week for the girls. So
And
Coach
Michelle
Harder,
will be
Coach Harder, I know, is probably looking forward to getting things going and looking forward to a good season. She's been able to build this program, and there's more building to do, but got a lot of talent back.
yes,
And
that's good.
hopefully some new talent coming in from the middle school that will develop soon.
Yeah, she's doing a good job, and it'll be interesting to see how they've improved from year to year. Even though we talked about organized practice, the coaches can still associate with the kids, I believe. Even they can't have just organized or true practices that count toward the number of practices required by the IHSAA before the season begins.
Yeah, they can have open gyms, I'm sure, unless the rules have changed. And watch them. It's not like they can get right down on the floor, I don't think, and run drills with them. But several of the girls probably volleyball and maybe some other sports.
Yes.
And so they'll be having to switch gears here soon.
We wish the volleyball girls the best of luck in their ball game that are beginning underway this week in Lawrenceburg. So
A lot going on.
they should do well, I think.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how all these games turn out as we near the end of the spring season or fall season.
I don't want it to be over too quickly, but always look forward to the winter sports.
To the round ball.
To the round ball, and then I got a grandson on the swim team, and want to go watch him as often as I can.
Sure.
When we're not on the air doing other things. So it's wintertime's a good time of the year to be inside watching kids play.
That's right. But we've been very fortunate as far as the outdoor sports in this fall with the weather. Right, John?
This has been the most amazing year. And last year during football season, we had that gully washer of a storm come through, and they had to delay the game. It knocked us off the press box, and I went up there and sent the kids down because there was lightning coming in, and secured the gear and stayed up there to hold on to the tent so that it didn't fly off the roof.
Yes.
So I got a little wet, but
I remember that.
yeah,
Pretty miserable.
It was awful. It was awful. After we were done with that storm, we packed up. I was like, nope, we don't need to put that gear back out in this. It's awful. That was terrible. This year's been just amazing. There's been years in the past we've had snow on us. I had nothing this year. It's been amazing.
We're not done yet, though. So
True.
and many years we've gone to Batesville, and it's been cold and rainy down there.
And it can be.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be. I think it's supposed to be nice.
Yeah.
But as far as our season, we're done. So
The that equipment, that's pretty expensive equipment to subject,
it is, and
to
we don't want to put it out
water.
in the rain. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Now, we do have cases we can put in. If we see that there's rain coming, we can put them in a rain case and produce still. But I would rather not risk the rain damage, really. So we avoid that if at all possible. And then like I said, this is the last produced game for us, was Lawrenceburg. Batesville, we won't be able to be there. And we do not produce sectional games because of IHSA rules. We would have to pay for that and compete with other people that are doing that. And of course, we don't have the budgetary means for that. So we choose to leave that to others. So
we'll have it.
you'll have it.
We'll have it.
Yes. And you may have it all to yourself.
We have to pay too.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
But nothing like what you would have to.
No, it's outrageous. So yeah, it's better to leave it alone. So we have produced it in the past. We've produced sectional games, but they changed the rules coming out of COVID and increased the costs and made it a lot more difficult for schools or local cable like us to participate, non-commercial to participate.
And then the viewer has to find it and pay for it.
Yes, they do. Yeah, it has to be behind the IHSA paywall, which is another thing I thought, well, because we don't get the money for that. So we're having to pay, and we may get a cut, I guess. I think that's how it works. But I thought, well, it's really not worth it. So.
When the HSA went to that type of doing, charging and so on and so forth?
Well, I mean, they obviously want to make some money from it. They own the postseason, so they have the rights to that.
Yes, but it denies a lot of folks the chance to.
I would like to see a better cooperation with local producers. I think that, especially in small markets, you know, why charge you guys so much money? I mean, it's not a huge moneymaker.
No,
So-
it's a public service.
It really is.
Yes.
And and I think they may come around to that. I think that coming out of COVID, like so many other businesses, they were probably behind the eight ball on finances. So they're trying to figure out how to become more profitable. And say they do own the rights to postseason. That's one possibility for profitability. And I can see that being valuable in larger markets.
And they can, if people don't want to pay to watch it on TV, they can go and pay their money at the gate and watch it live.
Well, that's true.
And
That is the option.
And they get money from that as well.
They do.
And it's a business. I mean, they have to.
Yep.
They're a not-for-profit business, but not-for-profit business still.
Well, they still have bills.
They still have bills,
Yes.
and they can't go in the red
Right.
for very long.
Right.
We're hoping that maybe the rules will change and things will lighten up a little bit and make it possible for that to occur.
We're always open to whatever options they have for
Sure,
us. So, you know,
sure.
in the right circumstances, we could be out there producing again.
You keep in touch with them? Or
We do every year. We check their rule changes, see what they do each season, and I may make calls and talk to them and see what options there are. So, and some years they're negotiable. Lately, they haven't really been so much. So,
You do a lot of other programming here as well, besides
do.
sports.
well, we just finished the candidate forum, and of course that's out now. And then we've got this Friday, because we won't be out taping football. We are actually going to be taping here in the studio the school board candidates, and then we'll release that next week so everybody can see which candidates. And there are a lot. There are, I believe, 8 candidates for District 3, which are choose 3. So, but there's 8 candidates. You get to pick 3 of those, and then for District 4, there are 3 candidates. Choose one.
Choose one.
So we've
that's
got a lot of
important.
them coming in.
Very important races.
It is. Yeah. Especially with so many and a lot of names that people may not recognize. We'll be bringing them all in the studio here. I've already talked to all of them, except for one, and I don't remember who that was. Somebody in District 3 actually had to back out. So you'll see that on the production when we finish editing. We'll mention that. But we'll get that done, and we'll have that out next week. So everybody can see what candidates. And like I said, the county offices, those have already been released. Those are available now. We're showing that on cable as well as on YouTube.
Then on election night, you will have a
We always
scroll.
do live coverage returns as we get them in. We put them up on TV, and people can watch that at home on cable, see immediately who's in the lead. And we try to make that as interesting as possible. Sometimes everything comes in all at once, and here's the finals. So it's not as exciting
They
that
do a
way.
terrific job in the clerk's office of
I'm
getting
very
those
impressed
results
that,
in.
yes.
Yes, they do.
I've been there for years talking to those ladies, and they are very serious about getting that done and accurately.
John, thanks for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have somebody behind the scenes in front of the camera with us, and we appreciate you taking time to join us.
Glad to be here as always.
Thanks everybody for watching this edition of Spartan Sports Report. Good evening.